YouTube video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm going to run you through a solid defense of the 2-gas opener from Terran, which is very, very popular in PvT right now. If you have any questions about specific things versus Terran players who open with 2 gas geysers, please go ahead letting me know in the comment section below. So before we get into it too deeply, I'm going to go a little bit faster through this beginning part. We're going to be doing a very normal cybernetics core expand. So we're going to make our gateway and our pylon, and then we're going to make our gas geyser, and then our 17th probe, when we hit 16 minerals, is going to rally across the map to our opponent's base to see if they're cheesing us or not. And then we will rally into our gas geyser, and be sure to not pull workers off of your minerals and put them in your gas. You don't need it this fast. It's totally fine. So I always err on the side of caution, and I make the cybernetics core before the nexus because I know I'm not a pro, I'm not a god. I want this gateway unit to be like 10, 15 seconds faster than it is when you go for the nexus first. We make the nexus, we make our second pylon. Our probe scout has identified that our opponent is going for a double gas opener, and I'm going to just teleport my probe home because he trapped it inside of his base. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it's always worth it to teleport your probe home if you went for a cybernetics core first. If you don't go for the cybernetics core first, and you made the nexus first, you had better hold on to your chrono boost and use it on your gateway unit the moment the cyber finishes, because you're going to notice 5 seconds go by of my gateway unit building, and I don't have a chrono boost. So always use that chrono boost on the gateway unit first. So effectively, from this point, I'm going to do no scouting, all right? Because it doesn't matter what the Terran player is doing. We're going to execute a 3 or 4 gate blink build perfectly, and it will defend everything that the Terran player can do, okay? So our first gateway unit comes out, we start our second gateway unit, and then we start our Twilight Council. And this is the point where I like to tell a lot of people, if you feel unsafe during this time period, you're going to start your Twilight Council or your Robo or your Stargate, whatever tech you choose, and you're going to make a shield battery in your natural, okay? And then that's going to protect you from things like Proxy Marauder, Proxy 2-Rax, and any kind of Proxy Hellion stuff, okay? We're going to come down here to our natural, and we're going to make our Robo before Blink. Also, I'm going to add a very side note. I usually don't make this third gateway unit unless I see 2 Reapers. So I saw 2 Reapers this game, and because I saw the 2 Reapers, it's pretty obvious that this Hellion is on the way. So I saw those 2 Reapers, and I made the third gateway unit. I don't chrono boost it or anything like that. It's totally fine. We have our 2 units in the natural, and this is where that shield battery, like I talked about, that you can blindly make after the first tech building is pretty powerful. You make that shield battery blindly after the tech building, and it will definitely be finished by now. And when our opponent runs up here with these units, there's absolutely no risk to our probes. And he just runs away anyways because we have 2 units here. So I'm going to pause right now. I'm going to say, this is the time when your gateways should be starting, okay? I have a shield battery on the way in the main, and I have probes building right now, and I'm going to get distracted by the Hellions and the Reapers. But right now is when you should be making your 2 or 3 extra gateways. You see I have the probe over here ready to do it, but I'm microing versus the Hellions and the Reapers. So if this is happening to you, don't criticize yourself too badly for missing the gateway timing, right? I really just want to get rid of these units. You can see I'm floating a little bit of money right now. My Robo finishes. I'm going to make 2 observers, okay? I spent way too much time on this. So my gateways were late this game, so I make 3 instead of just 2. And we're going to just keep making probes, keep making probes. We're going to chrono boost out that observer. The observer is a little bit late this game. I'm going to explain what you do with your first observer in just a moment when it comes out. But we're going to be going over here with our adept and a probe to take our third base after we start our first observer and after we have our gateways started. So we'll start all our gateways, we'll get our observers underway, and then we send a probe and adept to the third base to go build a pylon out there. Mainly this is for map vision. we're looking for the path that the Widow Mine can come through, right? If a Terran player sends his Widow Mine through this, his Widow Mine drop through this area, we're going to be able to see it, and we'll position the Stalkers in the correct area. So, as we're getting ready here, my Observer finished, and I send it to the other area where a Widow Mine drop can come through. And you're going to notice here, I'm looking at the obs, and I'm like, all right, hey, there's the Widow Mine drop right there. So, cool, awesome. We have the net of map vision on this side, and we have the net of map vision on this side, and we see what it is that's coming in. This is a tank marine drop and not a Widow Mine drop, which is a little weird, but we're on top of it, and he doesn't even get to drop all the units before I attack it, so he doesn't even get to do anything with this. Also, we have our safety shield battery in the main base, and we're good to go. So, I'm going to tell you right now, this Observer, I brought it back, right? This first Observer you build, this is the one that's going to stay at home with your army or in this area out here. And this is your Observer that's going to help you defend against things like an Armory, Invisible Widow Mine, or a Banshee. And then this second Observer, which is unfortunately rallied to the same spot as the first one, is supposed to go out to the middle of the map and check the pathway between you and your opponent, right? So ideally, if you're not distracted and you're in the correct state of mind about what is going on, you'll finish the first Observer, and then the second Observer will be rallied to the middle of the map so that you can have vision of this move-in of the Terran player if it's coming. So we deal with that. We blink down here. Unfortunately, my Stalker runs straight into his siege tanks. I'm going to stop here for a moment. At this point, I know my opponent's economy is really not very good, and I have my third base building right now. So I do the crazy YOLO play here, which is to pull all of my workers to defend this attack, because I know he really needs to kill me right now. He needs to kill me. He needs to kill all my army units and all of my probes to be in a good position in this game. So I pull the probes here, and I blink on his siege tank, because I know that if my Stalker numbers are good after this fight is over, I'm going to be in a wonderful position to counterattack my opponent, because if you look here, he has no units. He's got 9 Marines, 8 Marines now, and we're clearing this up. I'm in a horrible position right now, but if we open the army supply, he's at 15 and I'm at 25, and I have all 3 Nexuses. So I lost 16 probes this game, and that's real bad. But we know stim pack, combat shields, and concussive shells are nowhere even close to the Terran player's mind, right? Because he made this attack happen this early by skipping these extra barrackses and skipping his tech labs. So I think the rest of the build is not so important. I will go over it faintly here for the rest of the video, but I want to point out that this is the worst possible situation when playing against 2 gas openers. If we played against any 2 gas opener that wasn't this tank push, this build will absolutely crush it, and you should take absolutely no economic damage. We took a lot of economic damage here, but the build that we did afforded us the counterattack potential, and we just swung the game back into our favor because I knew what he had available to him. I shade the Adept up into the main. So, like I said, if you have any specific questions about other 2 gas openers from Terran, let me know. But I'm going to let you know right now that any one of them will lose to this build order. Just blink, robo, 3 gates, okay? Anything can be defended with this. There's nothing that Protoss has to fear from these build orders from Terran, except yourself. You don't execute the build order well, you're going to be in pain. You execute the build order well, you're going to feel great. So, we've caught up on the worker count now. We've killed tremendous amounts of units. We just use our Observer here real conservatively to keep an eye on our opponent while we get to charge, gateways, and Colossus.
Gathered all available minerals from a cluster.
And we just receive the incoming attack. How long does this go on for? I'll play it out. He goes for the Doom Drop. I'm able to see it. I have my units in the main base because of my excellent map vision. We snipe a medevac, and he has to leave. I thought maybe his army would be out here, but it wasn't. He was down bad on army supply because his economy took a way bigger hit than mine. And my plan here is to get to 3 Colossus and then kill my opponent with a Warp Prism drop in the main. So we're building our Colossus count, and we're trying to keep our Stalkers active on this side of the map so that a medevac drop does not come through and surprise us. He's moving through the middle of the map. I see it with my Zealot. He runs home because he knows that I saw him. There's a Liberator over here that I saw with my good map vision. This is like a very common theme that I'm trying to introduce to people, is that you need really good map vision. You'll notice here I have really good map vision all across the map. I'm very aware of where his units are at. I discover these units. I move my main army to go engage his army. I have these Stalkers left over here because I saw this Liberator. He chases my Stalkers, so I move in on his siege tanks with my main army. And we've successfully outplayed the Terran player pretty badly here. We try really hard to snipe some medevacs and keep our Stalkers alive. We're getting that Warp Prism ready so that we can send it to his main base, hopefully. I have a Zealot run by, ready to go. And like I said, my map vision is so superior to his. Well, he's cleaned up most of my map vision at this point, but it's still good for me because I've won the army trades so favorably. I have 1/1 on the way. I have +2 attack coming. We have 2 forges. We have our Colossus. I only have 2. You should definitely get 3. We have to deal with this Liberator, and I'm getting annoyed, so I sent my Zealot run by to attack him because this Liberator is something I knew he wanted to pay attention to, and I wanted to give him something else to pay attention to instead of this Liberator so I could get rid of it. I'm going to send my Warp Prism to his main base. It's ready to dive into the main, and we're going to just make the most brutish caveman maneuver possible. I'm going to leave it on my vision from this point forward because the rest of the game is very simple. There's no turrets here. We do a big warp in of Zealots. We attack move at his 3rd base with our main army. We don't want to focus too much on these Zealots in the main. This is his problem to deal with. He needs to deal with these Zealots over here. Let's watch his vision, right? He's like, oh no, the whole army is over here, and I've run into my main base. Whatever shall I do? He's behind 70 to 80 army supply. I have +3 and +2 on the way. I have a DT shrine coming, and our opponent is effectively incredibly dead. His army is okay looking, but he's on 1/1 and I'm on 3/2. So he decides to just abject himself out of the game, which I would agree with. Thank you very much once again for watching the video. If you appreciate this, go ahead and hit me with a thumbs up button and leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Have a great day.